It's your boy Woke. We back with another video today. Hey man, I see y'all love that first closer look of the punches. We back with another one. We got to go over defense today. But before we get into the defense and how defense looks and how realistic it is in Undisputed, drop a like, drop a comment, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all. I've actually probably gained over 110 subscribers within like 2 weeks. The love, I appreciate it. Y'all keep running it up for me. I'm gonna keep putting out this reel. When we look at Undisputed, man, as of right now, the defensive mechanisms that we have to protect ourselves in this game are pretty solid, I will say. We have amazing footwork, the best footwork we've seen in any boxing game ever, by far. The lunges, the different type of side steps, back steps we could take, closing distance. I mean, I actually really like it a lot. The footwork is a game changer. The footwork separates this from any fight night game that's ever been created or any other boxing game, truthfully any other combat sports game. Footwork in itself is so much to do in boxing. If your feet are bad, big chance you're gonna lose. Undisputed has the footwork down pat. Besides your footwork getting you out of trouble, Undisputed has amazing blocking. The 6-axis blocking system, I mean, when we want to talk about a system that really, for one, requires skill, two, that requires you to actually know what you're doing, know where to block, how to block, especially when we include the different type of guards that will be in the game and see how different guards will block certain parts of the body automatically, certain parts of the head automatically. I mean, this really takes the game to another notch. In Fight Night Champion, we had an auto block. You press the block button and it automatically blocks. Anywhere, up, down, around the sides, left, right, center, it blocked it all for you. And then all you did was keep pushing it, letting it go. You do pump blocking. That's not real, man. Undisputed blocking system. The 6-axis is a real blocking system. This is gonna really open up the whole simness or the competitive nature, have a really big skill gap for a lot of players. If you don't like it, oh well, man. We gotta be realistic. We gotta go for what's good. If you want to be good at this game, learn real boxing. Now, obviously, besides footwork and just normal blocking, the main defensive mechanisms used in a boxing ring to protect a person is what? Slipping. Slipping in Undisputed needs some work. As of now, the current slips that we have in Undisputed act more as like sways. You click into the left stick and you push it one of the 4 directions, and then you have a quick animation where you go left, right, you lean backwards, or you'll duck down. Which in itself, you would think it's not that bad, right? But I guess the issue occurs when you start actually watching boxing and seeing that that's not how swaying is done. Swaying in boxing is actually where you can legit barely get your head off center line. My coach says it's supposed to be a close shave. Close shave. If a guy's throwing a jab, close shave. A guy throwing a cross, close shave. Right? That's what a slip is. Because of slip, you want to be quick, man. It's not these big those are more like sways, and I'm not saying that people can't get that low, because we know Floyd Mayweather, James, Tony, they used to get low, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to. But my thing is, if we're gonna have something called slipping, we need to actually have proper slips. We don't have proper slips in the game currently. To piggyback off the slips, we now have a thing in Undisputed where you can control your weave, which is cool, right? Controlling your weave. Well, usually, if you know anything about boxing defense, once you do your slip, then we can do the thing where we get lower. We come here. You get lower. You typically slip the straights and the jabs, and then you'll do a weave to get out of the way of the hooks, right? Well, currently right now, we have a separation of weaves and slips, which to me is not a good decision. Like I just stated, you slip and then you can slip into weaves. Slipping and weaving is a part of the same exact family, right? You don't start off just weaving usually. You started off with a slip, and then you weave. Or you do a slip lower, and then you weave. It's all connected. So to have it on two different inputs really disconnects and remove the unison that slipping and weaving has and how smooth your defense can be. I mean, I was watching this fight with Gary Russell Jr. and Mark Masego. I mean, Gary Russell was just boom the whole night. Slip, get low, rolling up under it. Then he'll pivot. I mean, it was so much Gary Russell was doing, but it's all connected though. It's not just slip, return to center line. Oh, let me weave. No, man, it's all connected. I will say that, you know, I try not to compliment Fight Night too much, because we know Fight Night is the word you can't say in this community, right? It's either you for Undisputed or you for Fight Night, man. Look, I'm for Undisputed, be honest with you, but I'm not about to be biased to the point where I'm not going to acknowledge if Fight Night did something correctly. And like I said in the previous video about the punches, hey, it's some things that Fight Night did do well. Fight Night system, they had it where left trigger and left stick control your slipping and your weaves together. Meaning, in Fight Night, if you did a slip, for one, before I even get to that, if you did a slip in Fight Night, it was the proper, right? It was the normal slips. Head off center line, head off center line. And they gave you the ability, once your head's off center line, you can go lower and go even lower, and then let that roll into a weave, and you can control it the whole time. That in itself is how it's supposed to be done. The current weave slip system we have in Undisputed right now, it's just not realistic. It's not true to life, because currently the controllable things that you can do in Undisputed is the weaving, but when you're doing your lean backs, that's fine, you can do that even when you dip low and you do your weave. But the issue occurs when you go left and right. When you go left and right in Undisputed, instead of doing slips and then doing your slips and getting lower, you do that right there will get you knocked out in a real fight. No one's hopping over here with their chin up on the left and the right. Like, that's not slipping. Because even in game, I wasn't seeing people dodge punches with that anyway. And I tried to use it. That's not how you're supposed to do it, man. And on top of that, even if you want to say, oh, well, you can dodge a little bit, you barely can, for one. And two, if you don't have the correct type of slip mechanics in the game, controllable slip mechanics in the game, how will you ever be able to slip and do punches off of that? You won't be able to. Because if you make your slips automated, where you click in the L3, lean left, lean right, and you return to center line, you can't control it, you'll never be able to control the level of the slip that you want to do, right? And then you'll never be able to throw a slip and then punch off of it. Many a times when people throw jabs, instead of just slipping it, people will slip and throw a jab. You can slip and throw hooks. You can slip and throw an uppercut in one motion, getting your head off center line and throwing a punch at the same exact time. A lot of times it's not just coming straight forward in center line. People throw punches with their head safe out the way. But that's something that we got to look at as a community, right? Our defensive options right now are a little limited because every time you go forward, you either have to do the weaving thing right now, or you're going straight forward and you might get your head blasted off because there's no way to proceed forward with your head off center line, right? That brings me to my next point. We have no ability to cover ground while slipping. When you see Mike Tyson work, he wasn't just doing the peekaboo left and right. He wasn't just doing this in place. He was covering ground while he did it. He was walking forward, slipping. He was walking forward, weaving, rolling. Yeah. It's no way to currently be covering and stepping at the same time. Stepping while you slip, stepping while you're weaving. We don't have that currently. That's how guys like Mike Tyson and Joe Frazier, that's how they close the difference. Guys like Floyd Patterson that did the peekaboo before Mike Tyson did it back in the day. These shorter fighters, to cover that distance, oftentimes they're walking forward, they're stepping, but their head is off center line. If your guy has a long jab, how are you about to close the distance on him? Well, when they throw them punches, you're going to slip them. When you slip them, that gives you the chance to walk forward into the open space you just slipped. And that's how distance gets closed. I mentioned how great the footwork was, and I still believe it's the best footwork in a boxing game. But currently, we don't have the ability to do a pivot. Imagine using Lomachenko if they had real pivots in this game. It'd take the game to another level, and it would actually make a legit skill gap. But above all things, it would be realistic. Boxers have a few ways of defending themselves, and it's going to take me to my next way that the defense I think can improve in this game. Boxers usually are either using footwork, they're blocking, right? They're slipping, or they are catching their shots and parrying. In Undisputed currently, the main defensive ways we have, footwork, great, but like I said, it's a good footwork, but it's not the advanced footwork because there's no pivots included. We need pivots, right? Then in Undisputed, we have a great blocking system. I love that. But guess what? There's also other ways that we can do it. The slipping ability right now, the third one, it's really bare bones is lacking. We have to make a big improvement to that. Then we have catching. There's no way to catch punches. Another way of saying catching it, if you're doing a Philly shell, you may see Floyd Mayweather throw his shoulder. He's catching the punch off his shoulder. Guy throws a hook, he'll just boom. He's catching it. He's absorbing the impact. He's absorbing it, hands absorbing it, hands absorbing it. You know, hands absorbing it. It's so many different ways, but a lot of times that's dude's primary defense, man. What if I don't want to have to be all elusive and use my footwork? What if I want to stand right in front of you and not get hit and just catch all your shots, use my head work and use my head movement, be able to slip, catch, throw a block in every once in a while? And then what if I want to, guess what? What if I want to parry a shot?
Defensive traffic, the long guard offers a unique set of parrying tools, including deflections. Deflecting incoming fire with small glove and forearm movement is a hallmark of good long guard defense. The overwhelming majority of these deflections will be made using your defensive traffic, as the opponent tries to punch through or around the parry shapes you've placed in their way. Lift parries. Depending on the range and angle of the attack, you may be able to lift punches away with your glove, forearm, and elbow.
But we need those type of things in Undisputed to take it to the next level. the ability to be able to control range with your arm, right? I know they say it's illegal to keep your arm out, but guess what? You can be slick with it. And I would love to have the ability to be able to control the type of posture that you have with your arm, the type of guard you have. Maybe at times you want to just keep your arm out there. And I would love the ref, hey, put your arm in. That'd be great. That'd be realistic, right? And have times you can maybe just have your arm pawn. Another guard could just be just right here. That'd be nice to be able to adjust your guard according to the type of skill set that your fighter has, right? What if you can adjust the guard? I know some guys, they can be here, they could be here, they could be here. You know, they can have a closed guard, or the possibilities could be endless, right? Now, I just said all these things, I know, but guess what? Your boy Woke has a control scheme that'll get them all done too. Let's go over the control scheme, man. I can't just say all of this without providing solutions. You never bring a problem if you don't have a solution. Your boy Woke got solutions. Here are my suggested controller changes, okay? So instead of having slipping on the L3 where we have to click in on the L3, personally, I didn't think that was that intuitive to begin with. And actually doing it, some people said it hurt their thumbs. Put slipping on left trigger with the left stick, right? Keep it on the same location you have your weave at, right? You have your lean back, cool. You have your low weave. But when you go left and right, make those slips. Make that true slips. Where you're right here, you're still squared up. And then you can get lower with the slip. I mean, that's what slipping is. And let that roll into your weave. Okay? From there, that'll free up the L3. Like I said, once we have a free L3, because we don't have to slip on it, we can do pivots. Right? We can have our basic pivots, the 4 directions. From there, guess what? Start doing more advanced pivots. L3 quarter turn, L3 half turn, in the different directions. I mean, the possibilities could really get really endless, and that'll really create a really big skill gap. I mentioned earlier where I said we don't have the ability to currently move, right, and like cover ground and distance, get closer to our opponent as we weave, as we roll. Weaving and roll is the same thing, by the way, as we weave and roll, or as we slip, right? Because people take steps while they do these movements, right? Maybe punching while you slip, any specialty thing like that, moving while you slip, moving while you do your weave. Put it on LB. That's a really good modifier. RT is already with blocks. RB is already power modifying. LB is the body. Well, we can do LB and just not use the punch buttons. We can make that different movements to help close distance and make the game a little more advanced on defense. The other things I discussed today, catching, right? As of right now, if you're gonna be catching, you gotta have your hands up. You can't catch with your chin. That'd be silly. So to catch punches in this game, it should really just be right trigger, since you're gonna already be blocking, right? You're gonna be blocking. In the catch, you gotta see it coming, right? Let's make catch 4 directions. 4 directions where you guys throw a jab, you make that forward direction. Boom. A guy throws a hook, you make that right. Boom. A guy throws a cross, you make that back. Because I say back because typically when they throw a cross, either you're gonna be catching with your left hand, if you're in the Philly shell, you'll be doing the shoulder roll. Either way, you're like taking a step back, right? And then the guy throws a hook on that side. You just flick it left. And voila. You got catching in this game now. Right trigger and R3. Just how we have the L3 for pivots now, R3 could be catching. Normal flicks on the left stick is for your normal movement in your lunges. If we make pivots L3, that's like advanced lower body movement, right? We then come back and make R3, right trigger R3. Our catching, that's like advanced blocking, so to speak. That's like advanced defense. So we already have right trigger or normal blocks. We put R3 for catching in the 4 directions. That's like more advanced. Clicking in the sticks could be like an advanced form of defense that you don't have to even use if you're not comfortable with it. Parries is something that has been much maligned in the combat sports community. UFC 2 destroyed parries. They were OP, it was terrible, it's disgusting. But guess what? They're a part of real boxing, so we need them in the game. To stop parries from being abused, make the likelihood of catching it really low. And my idea is to have it where you have to push right trigger, where you're gonna have your block up, right? To parry, you gotta have your hands up already, right? Why not just have them up with your block, right? Then you have to know what punch is coming. That's quote unquote like you seeing the punch coming and prepare, right? And you double tap the actual button that your opponent is throwing. So if your opponent's throwing a jab, you have to then double tap the corresponding jab button on that side twice. That will remove the spam in itself. So only the best guys would actually be catching the parries and whatnot. Only the best guys with the best timing that know their opponent's next moves will only be parrying. It won't be just anybody parrying. It won't be a parry fest. You F around and try to parry the wrong shot and get cracked, get stretched, then what? This would eliminate the parry spam while also still giving us the ability to use parries, which is a realistic tactic. I would love it. Finally, the last thing I discussed was posting, right? Where you have your arm out. It's like a probing type of thing. You can control it, you can do circles. What I would truly love, pushing up on the D-pad is already loose movement. What if we can control the movement of our arm and how we want to do it if we just push the left on the D-pad, right? Maybe the first option will be your standard guard. Whatever character you pick, their standard guard, their normal cadence or whatever. And then if you want to change it, maybe have your arm extended more, right? Click on the D-pad twice to make it that. Say we wanted this habit where it's just probing, where it's just going up and down, just probing, just automatically, right? Just to keep the opponent off guard, to change your rhythm up, right? What if you hit the D-pad to the left 3 times? What if you wanted this habit where put your arm out, you just going in circles to just like throw the opponent off? What if we hit on the D-pad 4 times for that one? Pretty much what I'm saying, let the D-pad control how we want to use our lead arm. It's a video game, I get it, but guess what? The more mechanisms in the game to be varying the type of attack and defense you have, I want these things. That'll be really, really next level. I would love how they would implement it, and it'd be really cool to see. Well, family, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank y'all for rocking with me. This one's gonna be a little bit longer than usual, but hey, we had to talk about it, man, because Undisputed has so much good in it already, but it's still a little bit more that they could be doing. I don't want to miss out on anything that this game could be, because right now we got a development team that actually cares. Meaning, if we make the right amount of noise, if we raise the concern, these guys will put the work in and go and do it. This is a passion project for these dudes. The more you're vocal about it, the more noise you make, the more attention you give that you want something in this game, they'll do it. I believe that. So family, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed one. Hey, Woke Wednesdays, every Wednesday night, I'm gonna be playing my subscribers best 2 out of 3 on air. I want all the smoke. Say what you want, but you best bring your controller, do your talking in the ring. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Next video up after this one, closer look, punches part 2. I appreciate y'all again. Y'all have a good one. Shalom. Salute.